folks. Tim DeMella. I want to talk on this video about anxiety. I was diagnosed several years ago with a severe general anxiety disorder. Um, and uh, and these and what I realized is by going through everything that I've put down in this video, these steps I'm talking about, they have helped me reduce my anxiety a great deal. And let me tell you why. Because first of all, the first steps in the first stage of these 12 steps, they get you out of the world. They get you out of ruminating and the anxiety of thinking where you are in the world in comparison to others and all that. Okay, so it gets you out of that right away. The second step is ask. Third step is receive. That's all during a meditation, which I describe in my video. And then the fourth step is to commit, focus on the attention, which makes you focus, helps you focus right to your presence within you. That presence within you has to be the all authority. Okay, it has to be the all authority, meaning there's nobody in the world that has more authority than that which is in you, which is true. And and also that which is in you is unconditionally loving, which means that it is love. It can be nothing but love, unconditional love, because that's what it is. That's its essence. So it can never change on you. Okay. Right away, now you know that you can trust that which is in you, which helps you take that leap of faith into the second stage that we've been talking about, step 7 and step 8, which are step 7 is a very difficult step, and I describe it and I go into detail in my video. Okay, but that's in the fourth step. Let's go back to the fourth step. The fourth step is about mindfulness. And it's an exercise on mindfulness, meaning focusing your attention on what's in front of you and not what's around you. Yeah, you can have a sense of what's around you, but you must focus on the now, the present, and what's in front of you, so that you are prepared to actively listen, not just hear what somebody is saying or what your presence is saying within the meditation, but you are actively listening, and so that you can participate in the conversation, which is step 5, understand. Okay, so right away, your anxiety goes from way up here to way down here. Okay, right away. All right. I don't know how many times throughout the years in the beginning have I just heard one word from my presence within, and that's just relax. Relax. I've had a very hard time sleeping. I've had a very hard time getting comfortable. And when that presence I know is the all authority, and its essence is unconditional love, then I know that that is the thing, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, to listen to and obey. Because it loves you unconditionally, it's only doing it for you because it loves you so much, and it's the authority. When I was a little kid, well, let's first say when I was about 2, I had a grave illness, and I had to be rushed to the hospital. And it was only through a miracle that somebody was there back then. This was in the like around 67, 68, 1968. That there was a surgeon right there and everything. Found out later that at that time, 1967, 68, the mortality rate for what I had was 98%. So 98% of the people who had that illness at my age, which I was like I said, I was about 2, died. But during that time, something happened to me. I woke up in the oxygen tent, and I was able to speak clearly. My brain was more focused. Maybe it was because of the oxygen. I don't know. But years after that, I kept on having this recurring dream of following someone in white down a hall with doors on the left and the right, and the one dressed in white went into a room that was really bright and started talking to somebody. And when I got to the door, every time when I looked to see who that whatever person was talking to, I would always wake up. So some people may say, well, that was just a doctor and all that. Okay, maybe, but the point of the matter is that it changed. There was a change in me after that. Okay. And so I don't know what I'm, I guess what I'm saying is that I well, let me think here. Let me think about the best way to say this. I think I just lost my track. Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so anxiety. So I was diagnosed much later on with general anxiety disorder. I had gone through a lot in my childhood. I had a narcissistic father that was always put me down around others. I had my parents divorced. I'd always only see my father maybe. I think I counted 6 times, and over the next 20 years. So that was very difficult for me because I idolized him growing up. But anyway, with a lot of other things going on and stuff, it triggered, I guess, the general anxiety disorder in me, and I couldn't focus. I had panic attacks all the time. It was a very difficult time until I just heard this voice in me saying, leave everybody, and I'm going to raise you as you should have been raised from childhood. And I think that was saying, when you came back from whatever trauma you had, then I'm going to take you and raise you from there, all the way through childhood and all the way up to adulthood, in the right way, in the natural way. And so for over 25 years, I wrote down everything that presence in me taught me, and it all culminated in these 12 steps, 3 stages. And also, when I researched, I'm an engineer, aerospace engineer. When I researched neurobiology, sociology, psychology, and so forth and so on, philosophy, and I researched all that and everything, I realized that everybody was saying the exact same thing, and it followed my process. But the process was never written or delivered this way. Okay? But everybody was essentially saying the same thing. It would be part of these steps. Maybe only the first 3 steps would be one part of psychology. Another part of the steps would be another part of psychology, philosophy, sociology. Wherever you went, that it was all part of these 12, life, and what everybody was saying, all part of these steps, and they went in sequence as well. And that's what I did. I went in that sequence, following my own presence within. Okay, so that's why I know this works. And when it comes to anxiety, yes, you're going to have to tackle some very difficult things, but you don't have to do it alone, and you don't have to do it right away. Okay? The first stage is to ready you. It is the, if you want to call the spiritual childhood stage, if you want to call it that. It readies you. Then to take a leap of faith and go through the second stage, which we can call the spiritual adolescent stage. Okay? And and just like an adolescent, if you would think of an adolescent, it's difficult because you have to tackle and be friends with your emotions, trust, emphatically trust that presence within you. And it's where you realize that what people told you in the world, how you should be, how you need to be, and everything is a bunch of bullshit. Because I have it from the authority that it's bullshit. And what that second stage is teaching you is you're human, and it's okay to be human. Because that's how you were created. You were created human. You're supposed to be human. But what is human? Well, that's what the second stage is all about. The second stage is, what is human? For you, what is human? What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be, put in your name, like my name's Tim. What does it mean to be Tim the human person? What does that mean? And you know that when you find out all that and you come to the acceptance of you being human because of that authority within you saying you're good, it changes your life. And that's when you take the world and you tell it to shove it. because the world is bullshit. All the news, everything you see, it's all about manipulation. It's all trying to manipulate you to do what they want you to do and fool you into a false sense of control. Okay? But what I'm showing you is how to get control of your life that reduces your anxiety so that when you go out into the world, you can put up the middle finger and say, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. You know? And you can sometimes even tell somebody, that's bullshit. I can tell that's bullshit. And the reason why is because you've been through it all with your authority. Because in the next step, the ninth step that we're going to be talking about, it's called devotion. And devotion is a positive way of thinking due to the gratefulness, the gratitude you have for your authority, showing you that being human is acceptable, is what you should be. And when you realize that, that's acceptance. And when you realize that, I know when I realized that I was so grateful that I didn't have to be perfect all the time. And I didn't need anybody in the world anymore. And that brought down the anxiety even more. Am I on medicine? Well, sure. I have a severe case of general anxiety disorder. Okay? Because these steps that I'm talking about is not a cure-all, but I went through and developed these steps by my authority in me before I went on that medicine. So the steps gave me a 70, 80% reduction in anxiety, and the medicine helped give me a little bit more room so that I could be a lot more calmer and relaxed. Because your body is your body, and the thing about your body is, although it can be rejuvenated, it does wear out over time. Okay, does wear out over time. So can't do anything about that. All right. So some of these medicines are very good. Psychologists, some of them are good, some of them are not, some of them are wacky. When you follow your authority in here, you'll be able to pick out the weeds from the good crop. Okay. You'll know. Okay, because you'll know what the good crop is because you've been following your authority, the unconditional love that's within you all this time. So you know that if people love you, they should be loving you like that. And if they don't love you like that, then that's the world. Then they're in the world. They love you conditionally, although they will not say that. But if they ever followed this process themselves, they would realize and stop fooling themselves and realize, yes, I've been a total control freak. I was a bully, or I was depressed all the time because I was being bullied. And on and on and on. But I don't have to be like that anymore because why? Because I found acceptance. Okay? For me, for who I am, and that I'm fine just the way I am. Okay? So it reduces your anxiety a great deal. And so after this 8th step that I talked about, acceptance, my last video, I wanted to make sure you understood this, that this process isn't just about maturing. This process is about helping people through all kinds of illnesses, mental illnesses and so forth, right? But in my case, general anxiety disorder, severe case general anxiety disorder. I have a moderate case of OCD. I was able to get over that, I would say after, with the help of the medication, a little bit after this whole thing, after I realized, wrote down the process and all that. It pretty much kind of went away. All right. But from time to time you can kind of tell, but still, it's a lot more manageable. But the anxiety disorder, that continues. That continues. Okay. And you can tell that it continues. And what the 12 steps did is, by going back to the 12 steps, I was able to find not only where I was in my own life, what step I was in my own life, but also in what direction I was going. You see, if I'm right now, if I'm working on, let's say, devotion, right? Well, I need to believe that I can be devoted, meditate, ask my spirit, receive my spirit to help me be devoted, focus on what my spirit says to me, focus and then understand it calmly, conversion, with the conversation back and forth. Now, uh, your spirit may, just like it did for me, say, help you go here, there, and find different resources from legitimate research on what you're, the next thing that you're going through. Because devotion means that you're going to go through a lot of different scenarios, and I'll describe that in the next video. Okay, so so I just want you to understand, okay, that the process for me grounds me. When my mind is starting to ruminate and stuff like that, I remember, hold on now, go back to the process and start it with believe. Know where I am. I'm in the 11th step, by the way, which is delivering, and we'll get to that in the video on the 11th step when I make that video. But because the 12th step is more like, okay, well, that's it, you're done. Let's move on into heaven itself. So I'm really kind of like on the last step of living, and for the rest of my life, living and sharing. But the steps ground you because you always have something to come back to, and you're going to always get back in here. Okay, so let me just tell you one story, and then I'll be done. I used to scuba dive when I was in college for the marine biology department, for marine research. Okay, and we had this research project one summer, and I went out with my buddy was a master scuba diver, and trainer. Just happened to be that day, and happened to be my boss as well. And it was very choppy waves, very choppy. Now I only scuba, I wasn't. I was kind of like a novice in scuba diving, although I had been trained, so maybe a journeyman, maybe the next step up. But I was trying. We went into the water, and I was trying to catch my breath, and it was very choppy water. And the master, he was doing okay, and he said, "You ready?" And I said, "Oh, wait a minute, let me catch my breath." And I'm going up and down, trying to catch my breath and everything. Right? This is on the surface of the water, Okay, with the world all around me and everything. Okay, and it was real choppy. I was getting really anxious. I was using up my air, and I said, "I'm trying to catch my breath." And you know what he said? He said, "You don't have to stay here. If you dive down, it's calm down there. It's calm down there. And you'll be able to breathe and stay calm, and you won't have to catch your breath. So let's go." And that's the story. And he was absolutely right, and had a great dive. So remember, if you ever anxious in your illness or anything else in the world, there's always this process that you can go back to and the presence that you can be with, which is the most calming and is unconditionally loving presence that you will ever meet in your entire life. Okay? That's it. All right. I love you, and I hope this really helped. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.